Hi, I'm Randy Brown, your YRA-Year athlete instructor. Today's lesson is basic tee work. Basic tee work allows you to place a ball in a given location within your contact spots, whether it's inside, down the middle, or away. It allows you to elevate it or drop it down to the lowest part of the zone, and allows you to focus on your hands and your mechanics to get a consistent feel for your swing. To hit and to hit well, consistency is about repeating. And the tee work really allows for this. You want to focus on taking the barrel or the sweet spot of the bat to the baseball and pay attention to what it sounds like once you hit it, because the sound, the feel, and how it comes off the bat helps you get a good understanding and a good feel for what your swing is doing. Therefore, you can make necessary adjustments throughout your swing. So there's 9 key points. Number 1, always have a game plan. Number 2, get in your stance. You're going to bend, lean, and lift. Number 3, you're going to make sure you stride and have a good stride and load. Number 4, really focus on good weight transfer throughout the swing. Number 5, make sure you have good hip and shoulder turn throughout the swing. Number 6, you want to focus on your hand path to the baseball during the swing. Number 7, focus on the contact points at where you hit pitches. Number 8, you want to have good contact to bat extension through the baseball. And finally, number 9, when you finish, you want to follow through and finish balanced after the swing. So let's go back to point number 1, having a game plan. You never want to just swing to swing. Don't just hit baseballs. Hit with a purpose, understand why you're hitting the ball the way that you are. So for example of a game plan, you may have been pulling baseballs on the outside part of the plate. So you want to set the baseball on the outside part of the plate and move it back towards the catcher and work on driving the ball the other way. This is just an example of what you need to think about when you hit off a tee. So point number 2, as I get set, I'm going to address the plate the way that we've talked about in the past and get in my normal stance. As I get in my stance, I'm going to bend, lean, and lift. Always making sure every swing I do it the same way every time. Point number 3, we'll talk about the stride and the load. I have my rhythm. As the pitch is being delivered, I'm visualizing the pitch. As I stride and load, you can now see how I took a soft step. My hands and my weight are back. My bat is at a 45-degree angle, which is allowing the knob to be pointing towards the catcher. My head and my chest is in the center of my body. And now my knees are in between my feet with my weight 60% on the back, 40% on the front. Hands close to the body, lead elbow down, backhand up but relaxed. I have a loose grip right here. I never want to have tension in my grip because that's going to allow for a slower bat. And point number 4 and point number 5, the weight transfer and hip and shoulder turn. These are kind of blended together. So I'm going to talk about the weight transfer and the hip turn and shoulder turn kind of together, but I'm going to start from the waist down. So once I'm in my loaded position, as you can see, my weight is back. As I start to fire my backside, my back knee is going to start to drive into the ground. The arch of my foot is going to drive against the ground, which is exploding my backside into my front side. As you can see, as I start to rotate, my front knee is going to be bent to allow that weight to get through. It's real important that you have weight transfer in your swing because that is your power that you create. As this is happening, my hands now, my elbow, my hip, and my knee, they all fire as one. So as I start my turn, you can kind of see how my knob now is starting to go down, and it's going to start taking my hands in a direct path to the baseball. Which brings me to the 5th point, which is the hip and shoulder turn. As I begin to drive and turn, my hand path now is going to start working direct to the baseball. All right? The baseball's coming at me to this spot. My hands are working in between that. That's what we call staying inside the baseball. As I start to do this, my hips and my shoulders are working together. My front shoulder is aligned with my front hip. My back shoulder is aligned with my back hip. My back elbow now is starting to get into what we call a slot, which now, as it begins to slot and surpass my body, notice how the knob now is going towards the baseball, which is starting to create a good bat plane. As this is happening, which brings me to point number 6, This is taking my hands to a direct line to the baseball. Now my hands are coming through, which is now my top hand is going to start pushing through, which is going to take the bat right up to the baseball, which brings me to point number 7, which is contact points. So now at my contact points, this is kind of on the outer third of the plate. Notice how my hands are leading the swing and the barrel is slightly behind it. If I want to hit the ball up the middle, all I'm going to do now is release my barrel a little bit sooner. And if I'm going to pull it as I start my turn, my barrel's going to get out a little bit quicker. Which brings me back to point number 8. Once I'm making contact with that ball, my nose is down on that baseball. As I go and hit it, I'm extending out through the baseball, which brings me to point number 9. When I finish, I'm going to finish making sure I'm balanced. I can finish with 2 hands or I can finish with 1 hand. It doesn't matter. As long as I stay balanced, my front foot running up the first base line, backside rotated, belly to the pitcher. So I'm going to give you a few examples right here. That's the top hand release. This is with 2 hands on. Well, maybe not. One more. So now I'm moving it to my middle contact point. Always paying attention to the ball flight, what it sounded like and how it came off my bat. This is a real good indication of what my swing is doing. One more. So remember these 9 points. Number 1, always have a game plan. Number 2, get in your stance. You're going to bend, lean, and lift. Number 3, you're going to make sure you stride and have a good stride and load. Number 4, really focus on good weight transfer throughout the swing. Number 5, make sure you have good hip and shoulder turn throughout the swing. Number 6, you want to focus on your hand path to the baseball during the swing. Number 7, focus on the contact points at where you hit pitches. Number 8, you want to have good contact to bat extension through the baseball. And finally, number 9, when you finish, you want to follow through and finish balanced after the swing. And that's how you practice basic tee work.